Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. But you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through. Just gonna solidify everything for Mythos.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lores, you're gonna be able to find these shots true.
Inu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Iliad immediately to back that fine skill, slicing and dicing their way through 2-3. So back and forth. Good evening, everybody. Happy Mischief Night here, and welcome back to CGL, where we have a great NA Masters Tier matchup here as Low Ground Main takes on the Fallen. My name is Dextron. That is Shadow. Shadow Man, how are you doing here tonight?
I'm doing pretty great, honestly. It's always a fun time to see what this Masters Tier has to offer, especially when we get to see a really strong team like Low Ground Main. It just CGL regulars at this point, just always near or at the top of this tier.
Yeah, and they've been that way for the past couple seasons here. Always one of those teams that you always have to watch out for once it gets to the playoffs. Mid-season wasn't necessarily their cup of tea, but yeah, they always kind of come on towards the end of the season, and right now sitting as one of the best teams in this tier. On the other hand, though, the Fallen, I believe one of the newer teams here in this tier this season, so far have done really good. I believe right now coming into this game, they are 4-3, looking to get a win here tonight to make sure they end the season 5-3 on a record. It would be a huge win to get this essentially an upset over Low Ground Main.
Yeah, I mean, they played previously in Week 2 already, Low Ground Main taking that in a 3-2 fashion. But, I mean, Week 2 was like, what, month and a half ago, roughly? So, or something like that, some frame of time a long time ago. So, it should be a pretty competitive series if the first matchup tells us, anything.
Yeah, absolutely here. And still, we do know what our first map of the night will be, as it has been throughout the entire week. We'll be starting off on Ilios here. Always a really fun map to see first, because much like every other kind of control map in the game, you can kind of play a little bit of every composition, but Ilios seems to kind of favor dive more than anything else at the moment.
Yeah, it definitely has so far, and it usually tends to. Like, I feel like to not play dive on Ilios, the brawl just has to be so much better than it, because you just have so many various high grounds that you can go to on this map. So it makes perfect sense to me that we would be seeing a lot of dive here, especially with as strong as like Wrecking Ball in particular is right now.
Wrecking Ball, Devo, Winston, you still have Hazard being that little bit of hybrid between Brawl and Dive. Everything's kind of going Dive Hero's way at the moment. And still, if you have a good Doomfist player, sometimes that's the hardest thing to really shut down. And both these teams have to be prepared for that here. But, I mean, we're getting rolling through this right now. We know what our first map is from here on out. It'll be Loser Picks map. Bans are up next here, I believe. So it's going to be really interesting to see what we see banned out here, considering that we talked about being a dive map. Normally you see those dive heroes be banned out, especially if a team wants to play a certain kind of dive.
Well, I mean, I mentioned the Wrecking Ball a little bit earlier because I think that's a pretty obvious one you can ban out, because trying to beat the ball with like the Diva or the Winston, I feel like especially with where ball's at right now, is just really difficult to do. So if you're gonna play the dive anyways, you may as well just get the Wrecking Ball out of the way and get yourself started on the right foot. Outside of that, you could go for something classic like a Sojourn. You could go like a Kiriko. Cass isn't a bad pick either. You can go Wooyoung if you want to get rid of that at the moment. There's a lot of options here.
Yeah, Wu Yang is an interesting ban if that does happen, because a lot of the time right now, Wu Yang has kind of fallen out of meta. There's still a couple teams that really believe in playing that kind of style with Wu Yang, but you start to see teams kind of gravitate back towards the traditional kind of dive support line, or just the traditional support line right now. But 7 seconds left to go. I would not be surprised, like you said, if they go after one of these DPS bans, because I think that is a good start here, because it really, well, you could leave open, the two most important roles, in my opinion. DPS isn't always sometimes the best ban to bank, but no, you see the Fallen. They want to ban out D.Va here. Honestly, like we kind of said here, Shadow, this is a dive map. D.Va, one of those dive heroes right now, in a really, really good state.
Well, getting rid of D.Va leads me to believe that if you're the Fallen, you probably are aiming to play that Wrecking Ball, because D.Va deals with Wrecking Ball a lot better than Winston does, and still is able to accomplish like the same sort of tasks, if you will. So my prediction is going to be that they're airing more towards that Wrecking Ball side, and then low ground main for their ban. Oh, this is honestly kind of a tough one. You're left with basically the same options I gave just a moment ago, but I'm not too sure where they might go. Map 1's always a mystery for me,
I mean, without the D.Va on the other side, I feel like you could ban out Kiri here and just try to play something like an Ana Brig, Ana Lucio, maybe even Ana Juno. You still see that every now and then. DPS line though, Tracer, Genji, Cass, like kind of already mentioned. Those would be kind of the 4 I would go after here. So low ground main does have a decent amount of options here to really pick from, especially if they've scouted the other team. And remember, these two teams have already played once this season, so they have to remember a little bit about each other.
Yeah, I'm sure there's especially with it being a 5-map series, I would imagine they've got to remember a good bit about what happened in that game. Because, again, it's an absurdly close series. And still not quite sure what that ban is looking like. My initial prediction, you mentioned an Ana Brig backline. I wouldn't be surprised to see like a Brig ban. That's actually not a bad one.
Yeah, so it looks like there's a little technical problem going on right now with the team, so we're not getting that second ban in just yet, but still a lot of time left in the series. Like you said, these two teams, they went, I believe, 3 or 4 or 5 in their first time they met. I believe there's a lot that can be shown from this one here. Yeah, the Fallen coming to this one 4-3, while I believe low ground main has only lost once this season so far in regular season play, but still, this Masters tier, outside of, well, sadly, my team, maybe struggled a little bit at times, but still we were able to do good against some of these better teams. You never know what you're going to get from a lot of these Master teams. It's really fun to see that all the time, though.
It has been a very tightly contested tier. There are some blowouts here and there, but for the most part, I've seen a lot of like 4 or 5 map series, not a whole ton of sweeps, except when you're going like the top against the absolute bottom team. And even then, that doesn't necessarily happen, as we've seen. So it's, I don't know, it's been a pretty good one. And Reaper, a hero that I should have really considered, but it didn't cross my mind to ban Reaper, but that makes total sense.
Yeah, the Reaper ban is actually a really good one. Like we said, me and you didn't mention it, but Reaper has slowly, a lot like some other heroes that have gone out of the meta, Reaper's starting to come back into the meta here a little bit, which is really fun to see because it brings a different kind of style of dive. Or really, I feel like this is Reaper being banned out here might show us that low ground main is potentially trying to make sure that the Fallen, if they were gonna stick with a dive here, weren't necessarily gonna, with the Fallen ban and dive hero, they're going to try to force him to stick to this dive hero, and banning out the Reaper might get rid of that brawl comp.
That does make sense. It's going to be a lot less viable to run the Zarya-based composition without the Reaper, or even Mauga. I've seen some Mauga come out with the Reaper as well. Reaper does kind of remove the potential for you to do that, because Reaper really helps you kind of bulldoze through those big tanky health bars and just get those one shots from distance with his perk, which is always surprising. It's surprising every time. Even when I go and play Reaper, I'm just like, oh yeah, I just have a shot that shoots both my guns at range and does pretty decent damage, actually.
Yeah, it's fun to see that. But right now, with these two heroes banned out here, Shadow, what do you kind of expect to see ran here? Do you still see Dive? Because I still see Dive coming in with a Winston, maybe a Hazard, a Wrecking Ball. Just considering you don't have that Winston, or you don't have that Reaper on the other side. Winston seems a little bit more viable here now.
I absolutely agree. I expect to see like some. I think Winston's going to be the best pick you can make unless you have a like ball specialist on your team. When you have a person that just plays Wrecking Ball and knows how to do that incredibly well, it's hard to overcome that. But generally speaking, I think the Winston dive with like you could go on a Brig, you could go Akiri Lucio, either one's fine. And then I would expect to almost see like a Soj Tracer, something like that, Cast Tracer, something like that at the very least. Maybe you could even run like an Echo. I do think Echo does really well on Lighthouse in particular, but or the Well actually. Yeah, Echo does well on all these maps actually. So that could be an option as well if you're wanting to err towards that style of composition. We've seen Tracer Echo be very successful here as well. But those are just my preliminary thoughts on what we might see based on the bans that we've got out right now.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about it there a little bit, but I still think we could see something like a double flex. There could be a double flex. But everyone, we're gonna throw it over to a quick break right now. So we'll be right back here in a moment. So everyone, stick around. We'll be right back.
Lots of love. Love. 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 Lots of love. Love.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Here, just to give you a quick update. Low Ground Maid unfortunately had to forfeit their game there. So we're going to be moving now over to Iliad Poseidon taking on Visored here. And again, this is a significant matchup here in this NA Masters here. Visored currently sitting now as the sole number one seed, 6-1 on the season, going up against Iliad Poseidon, who is 3-3. Still has to play another game this week, but a victory here tonight over the number one team right now would go a long way in those playoff seedings.
It absolutely would. And I mean, Iliad Poseidon needs to win both of their games if they want to move up in the standings at all. They have two teams sitting in front of them, 5-2, waiting to play a game. And then obviously the Fallen just getting that win right now bumped them up to 5-3. So you really need to win this game if you're Iliad Poseidon to move up in the standings at all. And if you're Visored, I believe they would need to win this game to absolutely clinch up that number one seed. And that is also pretty important because you'll get first pick, and first pick is always a very nice thing to have.
Yeah, win here in this one would definitely lock in Visored as the number one overall seed, especially with Low Ground Main losing or forfeiting their game. That makes Low Ground Main a 2-loss team. So a victory here keeps them out of all the confusingness that comes down to tiebreakers. And honestly, if you look at it here, there's a good chance they get that. But Poseidon, Poseidon on the other side is still a team you really have to watch out for. 3-3, especially in this tier, like we kind of mentioned, you always kind of have to watch out for those teams that are hovering around 500, or hell, some of those other teams that are a little bit lower down in the standings as well. A lot of chaos can happen in this tier.
I mean, they have a -1 map differential so far, so they've been playing most every game to a tie or in some close-knit capacity. And, you know, no team in this tier is really just running away and having 0 map losses, right? Like, even Visored here at the top, they're 19 map wins to 8 map losses. So, like, it's every team is beatable. Like I said before in our earlier matchup, this is a fairly close tier. So you definitely need to be on your A game if you want to make sure that you beat Poseidon tonight.
Absolutely. And now we're going to be moving over to the bands here for our first map. Again, still be going into Ilios for map number 1. And hey, Shadow, this is kind of a little bit of a deja vu here. It seems like every team might be on the same page tonight.
Yeah, I guess they had a handshake agreement between the two teams. They're like, we'll just keep the bands the same, you know, keep it simple for everybody. So the Diva ban and the Reaper ban coming through. And again, it really just leads me to think, like, if you're going to ban that Reaper out, you really do not want to see that Zarya-based composition that I've seen so much of so far, because there isn't as much. It's not as easy to get a max charge Zarya if you don't have a Reaper to bubble in every fight.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, you get rid of the Reaper, you could have a Venture, you could still have a Genji as well. You have those other heroes that can really get in there and, get you that charge. But Reaper, they have enough tools to get them out of dodge and a lot of burst damage that some of those other heroes don't necessarily have. Venture almost there, but not as strong as Reaper at the moment, especially like how you mentioned before we went to the break here to swap series. With that one perk that lets them fire both shotguns at once. It's a little busted here. But right now, we're going to be going into this series here any moment. Should be a really good one. Again, with a win here in this one night, Visored will move on to be the number 1 seed. They will lock that in for the playoffs coming up here. And Iliad, Poseidon, they still have one more series to play here. So a win here does help them out. But if they can win that second one as well, it can move them up those standings even more.
There is potential for like a 4-way tie if Iliad Poseidon were to win both of their games. So it could go pretty crazy. And we're seeing two teams with just very different styles of dive. Visored going for the more standard dive, I would say. You've got the Ana Brig with the Winston, the Genji, and then that's eventually going to be a Tracer. That's just Sim to get out of the spawn door. And Iliad Poseidon looking at that Wrecking Ball based composition with, I believe it was a Tracer and a Sombra. As soon as we get our music volume to the right settings, got to make sure it's exactly there.
Yeah, I mean, this all like this the Symmetras, even though I'll say it, I'm Sim main. This is probably her best point on this map. I feel like it's TP out and then probably swapping something over to a Tracer here for both sides, but no. Actually, nope. Yep, there it is. I was just baited for one brief second.
Yeah, the Tracer Sombra backline for Iliad Poseidon is going to have to somehow get on this backline of Visored because that's really the only way you're going to get incredible value out of it.
And it really feels like to me with this DPS line here for Poseidon, they were really expecting to see a Wrecking Ball on the other side as well, but you do see the hack come in there. Now they're just trying to get out of dodge, and they're going to be able to do that here for a brief moment. Wrecking Ball coming in, just kind of keep them alive. A nice little jump there from the Winston for Visored, but it already seems like Iliad wants to bring this fight straight to point. Huge anti-nade there as they'll send Eddie back to the spawn room as Visored already getting pick number 1 here. Make it number 2 as Ethan finds both picks here so far for Visored, and it looks like it's going to lead to them capping this first point here, but Batman going to be able to find one there.
You can never quite get away from Batman. And that's, and like I mentioned, the DPS line for Iliad Poseidon, you're running the Tracer Sombra. You have to somehow get some heavy pressure onto this Brig and this Ana. And right now, the dive timings just aren't matching up. We're just seeing, George Sun go in and slam and not really have any backup damage to go with it.
Yeah, look how low they are already. They're just trying to get some health, preserve their life here. So this fight already kind of disjointed a little bit right now for Poseidon here, and Visored trying to take advantage of that, already finding 1, make it 2 right there. Scraggy gonna be able to find Britsky out there now. If you're Poseidon, you're just looking to quickly back up here. Losing anyone else would be a disaster.
It definitely would be. Just get a nice fight reset here. You're going to have your Kitsune Rush online and the mines available to you if you're George Sun. You almost have to drop the mines on top of the support line just to get them to move because they cannot dislodge them from this high ground right now.
Yeah, that's been one big problem. You see them up here just constantly together. Already, sleep coming in. They're not going to be able to find their target. But there you go. You disrupt that high ground rally coming up, but they're not going to be able to keep their counterpart alive up there. However, Ethan's going to be able to trade it out there onto Batman as Poseidon. This is probably by far their best opportunity here to win a team fight. But Visored, they're playing smart. They're playing decently far apart. The mines are out there. EMP also out as well. Will land on the 2, but yet no one going to be confirmed killed just yet. The Primal Rage coming out. They're going to be able to find 1 as Alex now looking to find a little bit more here, trying to swing those fists now at that backline, focusing in on the Lucio, won't even let them touch the ground. A juggle to behold right there, and it looks like Visored yet again going to come out on top of this fight. And you look at Iliad Poseidon here, they have one more opportunity if they can even get there.
Oh, that's a really tough fight to lose if you're Iliad Poseidon. I mean, that was your moment. You disrupted the backline like we've been talking about all these fights, and now you got to deal with this blade coming out.
Blades coming out. Britsky saw it, and I think just had a little bit of a misclick right there, and Glide going to be able to find 3 right there, slashing and dashing their way through, and Visored. A 100-0 first point win for them. And Iliad, they had their opportunities, but they're never really able to capitalize on them.
It really felt like Visored just knew how to play their comp better than Iliad Poseidon knew how to play their comp. Like I said, I was very rarely seeing. There was one fight, the one fight that we saw going well for Iliad Poseidon was the only time I actually saw Tracer and Sombra in the same location that Wrecking Ball was at the same time. So linking up that dive is incredibly important when you have the ball, because if your DPS aren't on top of the person that's getting slammed by Wrecking Ball, you're not going to be able to kill them fast enough, because the time to kill is the moment that they get slammed. Anything beyond that, you're not going to be able to finish anyone off.
Yeah, absolutely here. But Poseidon, one swap, no more Wrecking Ball over to the Winston here. Basically a mirror match outside that support line where both these two teams playing very different support lines. Poseidon, they want to play quicker, it seems, with their support line, while Visored, that traditional dive kind of play style comp or backline they have. And remember, it was only, I think, Stars that was the only one that died last round. And that was a big problem for Poseidon, as they need to try to get rid of that backline here early on, as it should lead to them at least finding some success in some of these fights. Glide, they're going to be able to back up, but it's going to be Ethan starting off the killing yet again onto Batman of all people. But Rambo going to be able to take care of the carry on the other side. Visored, though, looking like they're about to be able to cap the point here. 75% and counting. And Iliad just going to give it to them, even though Visored doesn't have their tank.
That is an interesting choice to not at least try and contest it. I mean, being down a Winston, it's going to be hard to get those kills secured, but here we are, Visored just getting all this free point percentage.
The re-engage coming back here, and I mean, Poseidon almost able to get that flip, but you see Alex come right back in, and Glide able to find that slash and dash combo right there, but Batman going to be able to trade them right back out. So this is what you want if you're Poseidon, but you really need to get this next kill. Stars, though, getting rid of Rambo. And now you see the hack coming out on them, but yet they're not being taken out. That other support right there, Scraggy, doing everything they can to keep their counterpart alive and well. Now the Winston's going after each other, but Alex going to be able to find Batman, who's up there to support George. Britsky, though, going to be able to take care of Alex. And you still see these trades going back and forth. But Poseidon, this is their opportunity. They got rid of the tank on the other side. They can now push into the backline, and it looks like they finally recognize that. Nice anti-nade there, as it does hit on to two. Eddie being the one that fallen, George trying to keep this fight alive, but I don't know if Poseidon really can. They are so close, yet so far away. This one is a nano. Now comes out here onto Alex just to keep this point alive, and them plus Ethan is doing so much work right now.
I mean, what a valiant effort coming through from Visored right now. The ability for Stars to recognize that getting that nano out is going to be enough to hold this point is just incredibly smart ultimate usage right now. And I mean, that's all you had to use. You basically have all your other ultimates available to you now if you're Visored.
I mean, still, if you're Iliad, you need to find something here. The Primal Rage coming out here early on. Britsky gets rid of Glide, so that Blade not going to be ready here. Primal Rage going to be able to find one, and now it looks like Iliad finally is going to be able to get the point capped in their control. Let's see how well they hold it. They only invested one ultimate into that fight, so you're looking at the same kind of situation right here. Nice hack there. Britsky going to be able to find Scraggy. There goes that backline, and Visored just going to have to completely back out of this one for the first time all map.
And this is going to be a very important fight coming up for Iliad Poseidon right here. You need to, ideally, you get out of this fight with just EMP. You just pop EMP, you get a quick fight win, and then you're able to use your Kitsune in the following fight. But we'll just have to see what happens coming into this next fight.
Britsky and Rambo really coming alive here for Poseidon. Same thing with George. They need to keep this up here, though, because like you kind of mentioned, like we both mentioned, this is going to be a pretty heavy ult fight. Bubble coming out there. George not going to be able to find much. The Pulse Bomb, though, going to be able to land onto Alex, who immediately has to pop that Primal Rage just to keep himself alive. EMP comes out, does find two, but you can still see two members of Poseidon make it three, exiting this fight before they're able to find anything. Pulse Bomb out there from Ethan. Not going to find much other than Bubble, but it won't really matter here, as Visored going to be able to take the point right back, and now they still have a Blade to boot. But Poseidon, they have both their support ultimates.
I was going to say that's the one positive you can take out of that if you're Poseidon. And I just think you waited too long, right? When you have EMP, you need to be the aggressors. You need to engage, and that is not what happened right there. And I mean, just look at what Visored is doing right here with this Blade. They're just being aggressive into the spawn.
Going to be able to find one, but you lost George Sun right there. If you're Poseidon now, you're just trying to keep this alive. Rambo going to be able to find one. Kitsune Rush is out here, but you do not have Eddie, who has that beat. Britsky going to be able to find one right back, but now it's all on the hands of Rambo here to keep this one alive, and they're going to be able to do it just long enough for Eddie to get back with the beat. If you can find one more pick here for Iliad, you could flip this point, and Visored, it looks like they might just give it to them for free, but a last second you can touch here, keeping it alive. You see Glide just going to be able to get out, but Poseidon doing everything in their power, going to get the point flip.
Good job there from Iliad Poseidon to really take that fight over. And you do have a nano boost now if you're Visored, and it goes out onto Alex the carry.
And now they're focusing in there on Eddie. Gonna be able to find them next target. Looks like it was gonna be Rambo there for the moment, but then he just recall back out. Still, you're finding all the picks here in the world. If you're Alex the Carried and Visored, Ethan gonna be able to find Britsky, and this looks like it should be a point flip right back over. And if you're Poseidon, you are now just trying to stall this one out as long as you can. George popping the primal rage here. If you can find 1 or 2 picks with it, you immediately turn this fight on its head. Still just doing what they need to do here, stalling it out, allowing their teammates to come back, but you lose Batman, not who you wanted to see fall here. Rambo now back into the fray, but again, you just lost that entire support line. You just lost your entire tank. Pulse Bomb Stick will find one, but that's going to be all they find this fight here as the point does flip back over. Iliad Poseidon's going to come down to Eddie getting a last-second touch here, and Delucia will not be able to get back in time. Visored take our first map of the night, but Iliad Poseidon made it a little bit interesting there towards the end.
They absolutely did. Once Iliad Poseidon mirrored the Winston, it looked a lot better than their Wrecking Ball comp. They were doing a fantastic job of just really taking the fights in good locations for them. It was really just that one fight where they had the EMP available. If they would have just been a little bit more aggressive and probably just, took the 1 or 2 piece instead of trying to get the absolute perfect EMP, that map may well have gone Iliad Poseidon's way. I mean, they got to 89% with losing that fight anyways.
Yeah, I mean, there was a big difference when they went over to the Winston away from the Wrecking Ball. I think you really started to see a little bit more of a cohesive dive come out, which was one thing they kind of struggled on. We both mentioned it. It seemed like they were all individually going after people rather than coordinating on the same person. You kind of mentioned it yourself there. When the Wrecking Ball pile drives into the ground, you want that person to be dead before they retouch the ground there. That was one thing that Poseidon was really struggling there to do map 1. Going over to the Winston map 2 or point 2, it was still a little bit of the same, but you started to see a lot more from that DPS line who really started to come alive here. So even though Visored won that map, it seemed like Poseidon got better as that round or map went on here. Heading into map 2, again, their pick here. They're gonna have a good time here to really pick a map that kind of fits their playstyle. And remember, Diva or Reaper cannot be banned unless we see the teams just swap bans here this time around.
Wouldn't that be hilarious if they did do that, though? So we do have plenty of options here. You can go hybrid, push. A lot of times we tend to see Flashpoint come out on the second map, so that's going to be my preemptive pick here, that we're going to be seeing like a Suravasa and just Iliad going for a full-on brawl-style composition. I don't have anything to base that on, really, other than the fact that Visored were the ones that banned out the Reaper, so that's going to be my guess. I'm not sure what you're thinking here, Dex, though.
I think you want to kind of go away from something like Flashpoint because, again, Flashpoint is Flashpoint is kind of just, extended control. It's just more fast-paced, so I think you want to go away from it. But we do know what our second map is. However, it seems like we're going to still be seeing a little bit more dive here this time around as map number 2. It's going to be Watchpoint Gibraltar.
Watchpoint Gibraltar. It's like the dive map. If there was like 2 dive maps, it would be Ilios and Watchpoint Gibraltar. That's like the 2 dive maps, at least in my opinion. And I believe Iliad were the ones that banned Diva last time. So Visored could ban the Diva if they don't necessarily want to see it. We just saw them win in the Winston mirror. But with Iliad Poseidon having the first ban here, this could be an opportunity to just ban a tank out so that you can potentially protect that Diva if that's more your style of what you would want to play. Or you could go for something like, a Freya. We do see a good bit of Freya on this map just due to the distance. You could go for one of the Ana or the Brig because we just saw Visored play that. So you have some options here.
Yeah, you have options here if you're Iliad. I mean, like you said, they played that traditional backline, and it looks like they're going to be focusing in on that traditional backline here. What's the ban?
Kiriko.
Okay, I see it there.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit different than what we were kind of expecting there because traditional backline is still kind of what they were playing last map, so not going after that Brig or Ana is a little bit of a surprise.
It honestly is, because you can still get away with the Brig on Watchpoint Gibraltar. We've seen it time and time again. It's like the classic backline to play on this map, especially if you're going to run the Winston. But now that leaves open really anything for Visored, and I don't think there's anything you were really just particularly concerned with. Like, I mean,
if you want,
I don't know. This is tough.
Here, this is an option. If you want to get rid of I mean, you can get rid of Diva here again and force
can.
that Winston mirror, which, I mean, yeah, it started to go back and forth a little bit there, but you still came out on top. So it's going to be interesting to see what Visored bans out here.
Yeah, I am very curious to see. We could even see a ball ban. Freya. Okay, so Freya makes sense. They probably just don't want to play Freya. Maybe they'll play. Maybe we could see a Widowmaker even this map since Freya's off the table now.
I mean, Freya off, like you said, Widow is definitely an option. Ashe is still there. That's starting to get a little bit more play here, I think. Cass still very, very strong. But outside of that, I mean, you could still just see, you know, those normal dive heroes come out. You could still see Genji. You could still see Tracer. I'm actually kind of surprised that there wasn't really a Tracer ban this map. Yeah, both teams played it, but I feel like if you get rid of Tracer, you're kind of just forcing the other team to play Genji and one of those hit scan heroes, which Visored that entire first map was playing that double flex DPS.
Yeah, they were definitely. That could also lead into the Freya ban. They might not even be looking to play a hit scan per se. So that could be the general idea here is just let's not play any of the hit scan. Let's just play Genji and Tracer like it's 2018 again.
Hey, some people want to go back to 2018. Some people want to go back to 2016 when this game first came out here, and I call them insane. But I mean, Freya getting banned out. I mean, I think it's still a really good ban. Again, a lot of burst damage comes from Freya, so it's not that bad of a ban, especially if you're really thinking both teams are going to be playing dive, which we kind of expected on this map in particular.
Yeah, definitely. And this map is like perfect distance for Freya. It's like a little bit too far away for Cass. It's like a little bit too far for Sojourn. So really your options are like Ashe, Widow, Freya when it comes to like the hit scanny type heroes. I mean, you can play Soj. I just think it's like a smidge too far away to get that consistent rail charge up with Soj.
Oh yeah, absolutely here. But yeah, I still think Soj might get some play here if there's a team that wants to play a hit scan here that's maybe not comfortable playing the Cass. But it looks like Poseidon going to be attacking here first. And man, how about we talk about Visored here?
Visored's comp, basically exactly what we saw last map, just Diva instead of Winston. So, hey, Diva's available. Let's get that Diva out here. Iliad Poseidon, going to be running some Roadhog, potentially. I've seen it on this map before, so I wasn't going to be too shocked, but we are just going to see the Winston.
I mean, it's always one of those bait picks. The sim coming out there maybe could have kept it up there, but Iliad Poseidon, they took a lot of burst damage coming out of that TP right there. But same thing could be said for Visored, who also took a decent amount of burst, but they're starting to get some health up here now. And I mean, each team right now, if you're Poseidon, you really want to force Visored off this high ground.
Yeah, you definitely do. You just got to get some pressure in there as George on that Winston. But now you got to wait for your bubble to come back because you can't go up there without your bubble.
And George just jumps straight back right there, leaving their support line completely open. Nice anti-nade coming out there from Batman to at least force Alex to kind of fall back for the moment. There's the ball, but again, it's on ground, but George is going to be able to find Glide right there. And that's one thing that if you're Poseidon, you really need it. However, that is not the follow-up kill you needed right there, as George will fall, but Britt going to be able to trade it right back out. Eddie going to be able to find their counterpart, and now Iliad starting to come alive here. They just need to get some buys on that cart and get moving.
Absolutely do. Alex the carry and Shadow being alive does make this a little bit easier of a recontest, especially if Ethan's just going to take down their counterpart in Rambo like that.
Yeah, that's going to slow down Poseidon here because I believe the Tracer was actually their push there for the moment, or the person they had pushing the cart. Now no one's up there, and I mean, Poseidon wants to hold on this high ground. Nano coming out here onto really both tanks. It just seems like neither of them really going to find any value here with it. Just kind of, it's weird. It seems like a zoning Nano, which is just something you don't see every day. But now Alex, they have that bomb, but they want to try to stay in this fight as long as they can, not invest the bomb anytime soon. Dive coming back out there from George, just get back on the high ground bubble. Going to be able to keep him alive here as they are just taking all the damage here from Alex the carry. But it's going to be Ethan finding out their counterpart yet again. Huge anti-nade there onto George and Britsky, but still no one going to fall just yet, as essentially Visored is just holding our Poseidon in that small room.
I mean, yeah, Alex doing a great job of just holding that corner for dear life, and there goes the pulse bomb from Ethan. Oh.
and that is not what you wanted to see. I mean, Poseidon's been trapped in this small room up here for so long. They finally start to get someone back to the cart, and the moment that happens, a double pulse bomb comes right out, killing your backline, and that's just a big reset here. However, you look at Iliad, they're going to have 4 ultimates in this fight. Visored, yeah, will have 3, 4 at some point, but Iliad, they need to go fast here. They have ultimates ready to go.
They do. They have the full ability to win this fight. A pulse bomb's probably got to be landed, or you got to have a crazy overclock, though. Maybe you can get some value out of that primal too, but Ethan taking down Rambo once again is not what you want to see.
No pulse bomb there as the Caster Curse comes through. There's not going to be even a primal rage this time around. Poseidon, this kind of seems like the fight you really need to win here to get this map in your favor. Now with that win there for Visored, they are building up to 4 ultimates.
Ooh, and this is going to be the crazy, just gigantic alt dump fight right here. This should be the fun one where we just see an insane amount of ultimates just get traded out.
Primal Rage and the overclock coming out here from Iliad. Now the Nano out on the other side onto Scraggy. Just give them that raid boss brig. You love to see it here, but the overclock fades away. So does that Primal Rage, finding nothing. Huge Antinate out from the other side, going to force out the rally, but now the Blade from Glide. Able to find a lot on last time. Already finding 1, looking for 2. Going to be able to find 2 with the Blade right there. The rally there from Eddie not going to do much here for Poseidon other than just back them out of this one as they only have 1 more opportunity, but the Pulse Bomb stick from Ethan carries this all the way through. Alex will find 1 more, but Visored touching spawn doors here on the defensive side.
Oh, this is a really tough spot to be in if you're Iliad Poseidon. I don't think anybody can possibly touch this point. Yeah, we're down to 0 seconds, and Ethan just one more time just says, I'm just going to take you down again, Rambo, just consistently winning that 1v1.
Yeah, I mean, there was moments there where it seemed like Poseidon had the idea, had the right things to do, but they just weren't ever able to capitalize on it. We talked about there for one brief moment around that 1 minute mark left to go. They had 4 ultimates compared to the 2 that Visored had. And instead of really investing them fast where Visored could build up to those other ultimates, they played it slow and lost a team fight, allowing Visored to build right back up to basically even ult economy right there. And now if you're Visored, I mean, 63 meters is not that far away. That golden box of victory is somewhere going up the hill on the other side of the valley or the ravine here.
And I mean, honestly, it's kind of the same issue that we saw on map number 1 I was talking about. Iliad Poseidon just not quite playing aggressive enough when they have these ultimates in the bank, right? They did the same thing with the, what was it, the EMP on map number 1. And then here you have 4 ultimates to 2, and you just don't go aggressive when you need to. You just sit for too long, and then you get double pulse bombed in your back line. It's like, if we'd been a little bit faster, maybe we could have did something there. And now we're going to be playing this defense, and I do like the Winston a little bit better defensively, personally.
The Winston should work a little bit better on the defense side. Alex to carry though, if they come out on this Doomfist, it'd be really fun to see, but I feel like right now it's more this. Okay, they're going back and forth. Doomfist gonna be the option here. I mean, they have time here right now to really kind of come out with one of these kind of play styles where it's a little bit more of a shock and awe kind of one. Yeah, you expect to see the Doomfist here and there, but I don't necessarily know if Poseidon was expecting to see it.
No, probably not. And it's going to be tough to get that high value out of it. But if Alex can just land a couple of key punches, it can do a lot of damage. Like right here, just in the back line already. And there goes Eddie like that.
Britsky get a fall as well. That Sim hopefully has some turrets up and alive. But Ethan finds their counterpart out here yet again. Batman sleeping on the job here, gonna probably be put to sleep permanently, but George gonna be able to find 1 here. Anthony, though, actually gonna be able to take care of that back line. However, I don't know if Iliad notices where the cart is at the moment. It's right there. You're gonna see George fall right back down, but Glide and gonna be able to find Batman on the other side. Rambo coming back and get rid of Alex the carry, but you see where that cart is here at the moment. It looks like Poseidon, though, gonna be able to stabilize here, but they still have 3 more minutes to go.
They certainly do, and I really like the Sombra pick coming out from Britsky right here. I think just being able to disable D.Va's defense, now that it's D.Va, it was going to be really good against the Doomfist, just stopping that block, but you can do the same thing with the D.Va and just disable that defense matrix and allow a lot of spam damage to come in. But still, you kind of have to play cart because it's just 4 meters away right now.
Yeah, you really can't give up anything right there. Nice hack leading into the DMAC right there. And it looks like they're just going to kind of let Alex stay alive. Rambo going to be able to find their counterpart on the other side as they're finally starting to get a little bit back in this head-to-head. Ethan, though, they have been a constant threat all series long. Scraggy gets rid of that DPS line here. George going to get rid of Alex, but now they're just kind of playing in their bubble as there's really no supports anywhere for him. Eddie going to come in, get that boop kill to keep this contest alive. George gets that large health pack coming back in, and now it seems like, again, Poseidon going to be able to stabilize, but a little bit of a costly play right there as Eddie falls. However, you get the trade onto the other side.
You do. Bodies are just going back and forth right now. And if you're Iliad Poseidon, this is kind of an advantageous situation for you because Visored just keeps walking in down players.
Alex, though, going to be able to trade one out here. Again, they have to play card. They cannot give it up for even a mere second, or else that card will basically just get capped here. Visored, though, on the cart, 3 meters to go. You see the contest come back out there, and now the dive onto the high ground. They're really trying to play this high ground. They're doing a good job. They're forcing Visored in spots they do not want to be at, it seems.
Are indeed. They're managing to separate out targets as well. Scraggy back here in the back line just doing Lucio things.
And they're finding value. Britsky finding one. The beat now coming out as they want to play some Reddit Lucio here. That cart, though, so close to getting capped. I believe it's just George on their own. Primal Rage coming out for them, but it's not going to be enough there as Visored will take the map and go on to series point here.
I think that was a boostio too. I don't know if I mentioned that in that moment, but the boostio damage went kind of crazy there at the end. A double, I should have been a triple kill, but that was something to behold for sure. Still a really good defense from Iliad Poseidon though. We got down to like, what was that, like 30, 45 seconds left right there. So it wasn't too bad of a contest from the side of Iliad Poseidon. Honestly, they just have these moments. There's like they have a moment where they can take control, and then they just haven't been seizing that moment.
Yeah, they get so close to getting over the hill, but right before they reach that apex, they slowly start rolling backwards. It's been so close, yet so far away here for Iliad. Like we've kind of mentioned, they've been close a lot. This tier does kind of throw in a lot of chaos, but so far, Visored, again, a win here in this series, locks himself in as the #1 seed going into the playoffs, and that is something that every team wants.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said before, having that #1 seed is beautiful. You get to pick your opponent first. Having first choice is everything, especially in a tier that's this tight. You really want to pick the absolute best matchup for you to start with to get your team rolling in that positive direction for these here playoffs that we're about to have.
Yeah, and hey, a win here, you get that momentum, you take it into the playoffs here. And you have to remember, Iliad Poseidon still has another game they have to play this week. They're 3-3. We talked about here how a win tonight would be really, really big for them, because if they win their final one, they'd end the season 5-3 and probably sitting around maybe that 3 or 4 seed, which would be huge for them. But right now, a loss here would basically mean they would have to win probably that last series of the season to make sure they're not playing against potentially Visored in the first round.
Yeah, that is a very true statement. And well, Iliad Poseidon's map pick. We've seen them lose on 2 dive maps now. So at this point, I think you pick whatever the brawliest brawl map we might have is, and I don't know. I think that's either going to be like a Flashpoint, like a Saravasa, or you could go with a push like a Coliseo. I don't think that's a bad choice either, but maybe you could go with an Eichenwald or a Midtown, but I foresee either a push or a Flashpoint here.
I'm kind of leaning back towards Flashpoint, even though I said like they probably shouldn't pick it second map. I think third map, you have to remember how well they kind of played that second point on Ilios, where they were really started to figure it out a little bit, but I think it was just a little bit too late. I think if they bring us to something like Cerebos or even New Junk City, I think they might have a little bit of a favorable result this time around, but still a lot left to be said here as we're still waiting for that map pick to come in. But do you think going over to a brawl composition is what will really help Iliad Poseidon get over the hump here, considering they've really shown us nothing but dive so far this series?
Yeah, I mean, it really just depends on what they're confident in as a team. But my thought is just, hey, let's get on to something different. You know, that's my general thinking with that. Hey, we've seen so far we're not really being successful in this style comp, so let's see if we can do like a a simpler style comp. To me, a brawl style comp is much simpler than a dive because all you have to do is be like, all right, everybody, run in that direction and kill this person, and you just have 5 people screaming the same name over and over again.
That's always fun when we were playing on Shoes Production Crew. We would do that sometimes, but hey, let's get away from talking about Shoes Production Crew here, but we do know what our third potential final map of this series will be, and it looks like, Shadow, maybe Iliad Poseidon hurt us a little bit because they're going to be bringing us to a Flashpoint map on Cerebasa, but now the question is, do they stick with the dive or do they play the brawl?
I mean, I'm thinking it's got to be the Zarya style composition, or you could maybe even end up with the Malga style comp. I think either one is a solid option. You don't have the Diva ban here, which leads me to think you might err more towards that Zarya. So I would actually ban Winston here. That's what I think I would do if I were Iliad Poseidon, because you don't really like playing against that Winston bubble as Zarya, but you don't mind playing against Diva's defense matrix as Zarya.
I don't know, because like they've been playing a good Winston as well. That kind of seems to be the tank they're kind of gravitating towards now. We haven't seen, other than from the first map, a ban from that DPS line. And it looks like they're going after the Genji here, because that's the one DPS hero wait, is this a... I believe this is Iliad banning. Yeah, Iliad has not played Genji throughout this entire series. Visored has, so they're really trying to force Visored off that dual flex DPS line.
Yeah, and I mean, it makes sense too. It's kind of one of those moments where it's like, okay, Visored, prove to us that you can play something else, essentially. Because we've seen that Genji be pretty dominant so far, so that pick totally makes sense to me. And if I'm Visored, I don't think it would be a bad choice to ban out that Zarya here, honestly. But that's just my thinking. Maybe it isn't the Zarya pick. Maybe it's like a Lucio or something.
I mean, I could see Winston be banned out here. Wu Yang. Interesting, but you have to go back. I believe it was Iliad who did play Wu Yang a little bit on the first point. However, this kind of just feels like one of those bans where you're questioning it a little bit because Iliad didn't show us a lot of Wu Yang on that first point. First map, only on the first point. After that, they kind of swapped it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's an interesting ban to say the least. I think it pretty much guarantees that we're going to be seeing Kyria Lucio from both sides, because especially with as big of a map as Cerebasa is, you kind of need that speed to get around. I mean, you could go Juno, but I just don't see why you wouldn't go Kiriko Lucio. It's just a more cohesive pairing, if you will. You could go Juno Brig, you could go with some crazy stuff like that, but I just feel like Kyria Lucio has to be your default now.
Yeah, basically, unless you're going to play a Brig, which we saw a little bit of a good Brig there from Visored in that last map, so it won't surprise me if we see that here as well. But it sounds like we're going to be heading in to Cerebasa here momentarily. I mean, again, what does Poseidon really need to do here? Because they've gotten better as each map has gone on here this series, but Flashpoint, you don't have that time really to sit there and catch your breath. You have to go one fight after another here, Shadow.
You really do, and ult cycling in particular is just so important on this map. And it's looking like both teams are looking to play this Wrecking Ball with a Tracer Sombra backline. Now, this is going to be interesting. What is a Tracer Sombra about to do against each other? I always find the mirror of those DPS interesting.
It is very. I mean, it's a straight mirror match across the board. I mean, even the lineups on both sides are the same. This kind of feels like it's Visored wanted to maybe play something akin to what Poseidon was playing, saying, "Hey, we can beat them at what they've played a little bit in that first map already." But you see Britsky get very low. Hack coming out there onto Rambo, and Eddie and Rambo already taken out here pretty early on. This should lead to the first point cap going over to Visored, and now they're just getting some stragglers here as they're looking to get a huge stagger.
Oof. And the staggers do come through for the side of Visored, and just really dominant hacks, I would say, right there. Like, immediately getting the hack onto Rambo and just finishing off that kill, that's super good value coming out of your Sombra right there that doesn't really show up in the ult charge.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, if you're Iliad, you really need to be able to slow down someone on this team. George getting a little bit low here already, has to just roll to get that large health pack, but still 50% and counting now for Visored. As you just see, Alex just already in that back line. Suzu coming out there to keep Ethan alive. I don't necessarily know if it was needed there, but hey, if you keep your Tracer alive, you can do a lot in a lot of fights here. George trying to do what they can to contest this point, but you already see Alex rolling back in, low on health, trying to get all the healing they possibly can here. Final fight territory now, as Iliad tries to go towards point here, but they're struggling a little bit. Almost 75% cap. Nice boop away there by Eddie, but still, you need to find some picks here. If you're Iliad, you might get the point flip without any, but what's going to be the follow-up there? The point flip not going to happen just yet, but Ethan going to be able to find Rambo out. George will find one, but you lose your DPS line here now for Iliad. It's a long fight ahead, and you lost your speed. This looks like this point is already going to go over to Visored here. They just need to clean up the rest of Poseidon.
And we are seeing that happen slowly but surely. Ethan just kind of continuing to dominate that Tracer battle. And especially when you have a mirror matchup like this, I feel like Tracer is like one of, if not the most important hero in this matchup as far as confirming any sort of kills. And it's going to make it really tough for the side of Iliad Poseidon if you cannot deal with Ethan more effectively.
Yeah, and going back to what you kind of talked about on map 1, where we saw Iliad play this Wrecking Ball comp, you want those pile drives to basically be combos. George going to be able to find one right there. So mine do come out, so they get rid of that Sombra here pretty early on, and this should lead to Iliad maybe finding some value, but no, you lose Eddie, you lose Rambo. That's not who you want to see after you got off to a really good start this fight, but now Alex getting very low, still going to be able to find one on their way out. Alex, though, will eventually fall, but still trades going back and forth, and Ethan, so far, they are putting a lot into this entire series, but Visored gonna be able to cap first.
I mean, just gross stuff coming out from the Tracer of Ethan, like I mentioned in the last fight. And both teams basically even having every ult except for those mines available. So it's going to be really important how these get used. And look at that, just immediate death for George.
Yeah, George tried to get a pile drive in and get out, but I believe they got hacked trying to get out, leaving them a little bit as a sitting duck. And now if you're Poseidon, you have to kind of back out here, and look at this already, 50% and counting almost for Visored. You could be looking at final fight territory here for Poseidon as they come back in.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in, especially on a flashpoint. You can't really do much without your Wrecking Ball, and then that's a nice EMP coming out.
Woo! 5-man EMP coming, or 4-man EMP coming out on the other side right there for Visored. Still even trades across the board, but the pulse bomb stick going to take care of George, and now Ethan trying just to add a little bit more to this entire series. Gonna get hacked, but the one last second blink gets them out of there. Rambo gonna fall. Is there any more touches coming out here from Iliad? But it looks like Alex gonna try to keep him away. Nice boop there by Eddie. The wave goodbye, as it seems like the only person that can touch is George, but they don't get there in time, and now it seems like they're just gonna be hacked and killed for their troubles, as Britsky is going to be the first one to fall there. And now Visored 1 point win away from getting a clean 3-0 sweep.
Oh, yeah. And again, dominant fashion coming through for Visored on this map so far. Having double support ults available to you, Iliad does as well, and they also have a pulse bomb, but it's so hard to get that high value out of a pulse bomb against this composition, which is why I've been so impressed with Ethan so far in managing to get high value out of all their pulse bombs.
Iliad, though, you already lose George really before a fight, and point opens up here. I mean, you have ultimates, but you're still looking to find something. Alex? A little bit of mistake right there, but Ethan going to be able to clean it right back up with a trade, and now Poseidon playing a little bit too close to the edge for comfort. Going to be able to keep himself alive, though, with some nice time blinks. Britsky going to be able to find one, but it's immediately traded right back out here. Whenever Iliad seems to find something, they always get traded right back out. Case in point right there. You had a little bit of an advantage, but now you're going to end up losing it all here. The last person left alive is George, and looks like they're just going to turn tail and run. Same thing with Batman.
I mean, honestly, that's the smart play there. That was such a good hack too, coming out from Glide. Just recognizing that the Lucio was the hack target there. Just get the Lucio sitting still and not able to yield themselves right off the pile driver. Great play coming through. And now here we are, both teams essentially having 5 ultimates available for this next fight. But Britsky already down.
No EMP going to come this time around as Ethan finds him. Now the beat there from Scraggy, as it's just Visored trying to find everything they can here. A little bit more Batman getting invested Kitsune Rush, but right now you still just see it. It doesn't matter what ultimate is on the field. Visored is just picking off every member of Iliad Poseidon one by one, and Poseidon gonna have to back out here as they're looking down the barrel of final fight.
And a tough final fight it's going to be, too. You don't have a Kitsune Rush. You're pretty close on that EMP, though. So you have an EMP and a sound barrier. That's got to be probably what wins you this fight. But knowing Glide, they'll probably hop in and get this ult off early as well.
EMP coming out there from Glide. I don't think it really hit onto anybody, but Ethan going to be able to find Batman out, not who you want to see fall first. If you're Poseidon, you just lost Eddie as well. No beat left here for Poseidon, and now it's Batman or Britsky finding 2 here. You need a little bit more of a Britsky. The main person in this fight will be taken out there by Alex. Star's going to be able to take care of 1 as well, and there should be your final pick of the series. Actually, no, the beat now coming out from Eddie, who comes right back in. You have Batman there as well, but still, you need a little bit more if you're Iliad. The pile drive going to send those support lines flying up into the air, and Visored will lock themselves in as the #1 overall seed.
And I mean, what a dominant fashion to lock it in as well. Visor just showing that no matter the composition, they're just like, we are better at this dive comp than you are, Iliad Poseidon. And I mean, I got to shout out Ethan once again. Just the absolute dominant performance I was seeing on Tracer, just final blow after final blow. And every pulse bomb was landing and getting max value, it seemed like. Just great play overall. But from everybody on Visored as well, just wanted to shout out that particular Tracer play.
Yeah, just great play, just great play overall. Like you kind of said, Visored really came into the series looking to find a lot of value here, and they did. They only needed to win this series to lock themselves in because of that unfortunate forfeit that happened a little bit earlier tonight with low ground main. So hey, #1 overall seed locked up. Iliad Poseidon though still has 1 more match to go, and a win does probably get them out of that scenario where they might have to play this Visored team yet again.
It's very much a possibility. If they were to win the next match, it just depends on who they're playing against. I'm not entirely sure how that all ties out and whatnot. But, yeah, I mean, if you're Visored, you might have your eyes set. You might be like, I think I see who we might pick first. That might be the general consensus over there. There are some other teams to pick from, but you just showed that you could really dominate this team.
Yeah, absolutely. But everyone stick around. We'll be right back with an interview from one of the members of Visored. You're not going to want to miss it. All right, welcome back, everybody. We are pleased to be joined by Alex and Scraggy from our victors here tonight of Visored. Guys, congratulations on the victory. Congratulations on locking yourself in as the #1 overall seed here for the playoffs. Let me just ask you about that, locking in as #1 overall seed because that low ground main forfeit that happened earlier tonight. How does that feel for you guys, especially heading into playoffs?
I mean, it's good. We just needed to win today, and we were guaranteed 1 seed. We have our map win from mid-season, so we were pretty confident in getting 1 seed. Now that just means we get to pick whatever map we want for control, and we will only be scrimming 1 map for control from here on out.
That is awesome to hear. You know, seeing the game today, I noticed you played a wide variety of the dive tanks. What do you think you all are the strongest on with that dive comp? It was a lot of the same heroes outside of the tank, so I guess I'm just kind of asking, what's your favorite dive tank to play?
My favorite to play and my best are 2 different. My favorite is Monkey, because primaling in Monkey is beautiful. I hit a dirty primal that game, by the way. Shout out me. I love Monkey, but my best is D.Va, by far D.Va. D.Va's low-key my signature hero, so I mean, we kind of pride ourselves in being able to play almost any hero, all of us, and we just use that to our advantage.
Yeah, I mean, could definitely tell you all looked incredibly strong on all 3 of the maps tonight. And then this is me a question for either one or both of y'all. Is there any team in the tier, with y'all being the 1 seed, I would think that you got to be the favorites going into these playoffs here, or at least somewhere near that top tier. Is there any team that you're looking at being like, oh, this is going to be our toughest competition, or are y'all just going to wipe everybody? Like, what do you think?
I'll let Alex answer first.
I mean, obviously there's low ground main who beat us. We want revenge for that. And then there's Atlas, who had us tight in week 1 and have improved a lot since then. I mean, other than that, there's no real competition, to be honest.
Hey, bold words. As this region, this tier in general just normally leads to a lot of chaos here, but I want to take a little bit of a step away from Overwatch right now in your guys' team, because again, you guys played great, #1 OR seed. Tomorrow's Halloween. What are you guys dressing up as?
I'm dressing up as a scarecrow.
It's actually Halloween already for me. Aussie. I haven't yet to get my costume. I'm going literally right after this and getting my costume and then heading to a party.
What do you think you're gonna get?
Probably something basic. Probably a Batman outfit. I'm feeling some Batman. Seeing Batman on the enemy team, I'm feeling some Batman.
All right, hell yeah. Hey, everyone, again, that was Alex and Scraggy for our victors here tonight of Visored. Guys, before we let you go, we want to give you the floor to shout out anyone or anything you guys want.
You go first.
I'll shout out my team, Alex the carry, Lied who played today, he was going crazy, Ethan, and then Shadow Killer and Stars, they all went crazy today, gotta shout them out. Shouting out some of my dogs, Katsushika, Future, those are just a few of them, but yeah.
I will shout out T-Pain for always rage baiting me, Dylan for being a good Genji, shout out Ethan, that's my MVP, Ethan. Scraggy, my goat on Lucio, didn't Ajax again today, let's go, he didn't Ajax again today, but did lose a 1v1 to a Juno with me, so... I don't know. We might have to review that one back. But that's my shoutouts.
All right. Again, guys, thank you so much. We'll let you go. We'll let you now go and enjoy the rest of your night, and for you, enjoy Halloween. And guys, again, everyone, that was Alex the Great. Alex the Carry, my bad.
Yeah.
And Scraggy. Again, guys, thank you so much, and congratulations on the victory. We'll see you guys in playoffs.
See you then. GG's.
See ya.
All right, Shadow. A really good series here tonight. Not the one we expected to cover, but hey, they still gave us a hell of a show here. Poseidon, though, we talked about, they had their moments. They just weren't ever able to get over the hump there, as it just seemed like this Visored team is locked in and ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, Visored absolutely ready to go in and I would imagine continue their dominant performance that we saw tonight. Iliad just like this close to being really, really competitive here. They're just like a hair off in every single fight. But I mean, that's kind of how you end up with a 3-3 record to begin with, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. But Iliad still has one more game to go this season, so a lot can still change for them. But everybody, that will do it for us here tonight at CGL. Just want to give a quick shout out to Headrammer and Reclaimer for putting on this production here tonight. Thank you to everyone who came out, and hey, have a safe and happy Halloween tomorrow. And we do have some action tomorrow, so if you're already at home, back from trick-or-treating, or you're just at home, there will be some more CGL action where I'm pretty sure at least one of the casters is going to be dressed up as well. But again, Shadow, thank you so much. Hope you have a great night. And everyone else, hope you have a great night as well. We'll see you tomorrow for some more CGL action.